Hey, it's Jason ODB, the Lincoln Addict, and I wanted to show you guys a magazine I picked up back mid-year 2010 that features this really killer Continental rod custom magazine. Before we jump in, I wanted to thank my friend, my homie, Tim Gilbert, for the shirt. He was at Slamboree this year. I couldn't make it, and he picked this up. He picked up a banner as well for me. Love the artwork. Of course, had to have it with a Lincoln on it. Negative Camber Show up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You can see there. But I was digging for a couple magazines, and I've done some of these flip throughs, what I call them, over on Our Lifestyle Podcast, and the truck magazines I collect. This is one I picked up on the newsstand, again, mid 2010. And this one is titled Right on the Mark. This is John Torrie Sr., a car guy that built a really awesome 57. Now, I know some people will cringe, especially the purists, saying, hey, this car was kind of a rare car. How could you customize it? Not here to judge, of course, just here to showcase what I call a really awesome custom car. You can see, again, right on the Mark, ties into the Mark title of the car. The Torres is 57 Continental. And if you want to read the feature here, I'm kind of going to zoom in on it. Remember, you could bump this up to 4K if you need to, but it's a 57 Continental Mark II. The small obstacles never stopped the elder Torrie, nor did being diagnosed with lymphoma cancer in August 2004. Despite Dad having to sell his 32 43 window, his son saw this as an opportunity to build a project with him and at the same time help him cope with his health problems. I think it's pretty cool with a lot of these custom cars. There's always a story behind them, and that one is definitely one that makes you go, wow, anybody that's dealing with cancer. But to be able to put the dedication into a project like this is super awesome, especially a father-son build. Photography was Steve Kilmer on this one, which I think he killed it. You'll often see this feature make its rounds on social media. Some of the photos are floating around out there. Super awesome car. Now, on the recent episode of Lincoln Addict Podcast, we talk a little bit about Lincoln history. I can't rattle it off like some people can, but here, again, I'll stop in case you want to take a screenshot or read through this, but it kind of talks about, over on the right side, it goes in to say that, that reportedly there were 450 of these produced the final production year, about 3,000 total. The Marks are considered to be a Lincoln, having been sold under the Lincoln dealership banner. It even feature, of course, numerous Lincoln components. Ford Motor Company basically developed the Continental line as its own entity, and it wasn't until the line's demise following the final production year of the Mark II that the Lincoln would consume the Continental brand. So I know there's always a lot of controversy. If I, would post this and say Lincoln Continental, people would say, oh, it's not a Lincoln Continental, it's a Continental by Lincoln, Mark. Just like when I had Brian Fuller on, it gets kind of confusing in that era, but regardless of all that mess and madness, I should say, look at how beautiful this car is. Now, we were at Chris Dunn's house, owner of Lincoln Land, a couple months back. Richard Lund from Suicide Slabs had came into town. I don't know if he got a chance to see Chris's Mark, but our friend Bill Moss had, and man, seeing one of these cars in person is pretty stunning. Elizabeth Taylor had one. I'm sure a lot of different people did. There is a video floating around out there about the person that supposedly owns the Elizabeth Taylor Mark, which I think was a cool video. Really awesome channel. Did a great feature on that, if you can find it. I love how clean the interior is. This section here, where it talks about all of the stuff that was done to it, I'll kind of just go through here. So in case you need to pull any information, it's got Diamondback tires, which is what I'll be running on my 64. The paint and body here, it says, okay, here's where things start getting more interesting. And it goes on to talk about within the confines of a one-car garage and outside weather permitting, the Torres has managed to drop the Mark's top a total of 3 inches. John Sr. cut the windshield himself. Crazy. Again, that's why I try not to judge. A lot of people they look at a car and say, oh, why would you do that? I mean, this thing could have been a rust bucket. Who knows? But for the time and dedication, especially a father-son project, And being able to do it in the confines of a one-car garage, at least some of the work, and for it to come out this awesome, I could never, knock someone down for doing such a wonderful job on a car. Again, there's going to be purists out there. People say, hey, these cars really shouldn't be customized, whatever. But like I said at the beginning, I'm not here to judge. I'm here to showcase a really awesome car that definitely is right on the mark. So in case you ever wondered where this feature came from, again, I see it often floating around. Some of the Lincoln pages will share it. There you have it in case you ever want to find this issue, May 2010. And you got the insert photo right there. East Coast Continental Custom hitting the mark, ... If you get a chance, check out Lincoln Addict Podcast via any podcast platform. For the most part, just search Lincoln Addict or go to lincolnaddict.com. You can find links there on how to listen on Android through Podbean. You can listen through Apple Podcasts on an Apple device, or don't forget, you can also listen on YouTube for the newer episodes. The older episodes are just kind of through those channels. Again, thanks to Tim Gilbert for snagging the shirt, and his wife Dawn Slamboree. Big shout out. Got the shirt yesterday at a picnic. Stay on the rise. I'll be hitting you guys hopefully with more content this week. Lincoln Addict channel. Appreciate all the support. We out of here.